Let me tell you about two things that happened. Both times, experts said Israel would never do it. Both times, the diplomatic community said the risks were too high. Both times, America privately urged restraint. Both times, the international community warned of catastrophic consequences. And both times, Israel did it anyway, with zero warning, complete operational secrecy, and complete success. I am going to tell you about those two moments in detail, because when you understand them completely, when you understand the doctrine behind them, when you understand the strategic logic that connects 1981 to 2007 to today, the question of what Israel does next about Iran is not a question of whether, it is a question of when. And when that happens, every single thing about the Middle East, about oil markets, about global security changes permanently. My name is Professor Jiang. 30 years studying military strategy, geopolitical doctrine, and the decisions that nations make when they believe their survival is at stake. Stay with me. Every second of the next 24 minutes matters. Before I go deeper, I have one gift for you. People ask me every day, Professor Jiang, what is real anymore? Because the internet is full of fake success, fake gurus, fake promises. But after 30 years studying money, power, and human behavior, I discovered something dangerous. Most people are not poor because they lack opportunity. They are poor because they are mentally programmed to stay average. That programming controls your decisions, your risks, your income, your entire future. That is exactly why the TPP system was created. Inside, you receive mindset mastery training, advanced wealth strategies, investment fundamentals, a private mastermind community, and a complete success roadmap with instant access to premium video lessons and ebooks. This is not motivation. This is financial re-engineering. And here is why thousands join with confidence. You receive a full 60-day money-back guarantee. Use the system for 2 full months. If your mindset and financial clarity do not transform, you pay absolutely nothing. Zero risk, complete protection. The investment is $5,399, one time. One decision can change your financial trajectory forever. Do not worry. I already placed the link in the description and pinned comment. This is Professor Jiang. Authentic, calculated, guaranteed. Secure your position now. Now let us get back to what matters. June 7th, 1981, Sunday afternoon. 8 Israeli F-16 fighting Falcons, escorted by 6 F-15 Eagles, took off from Etzion Air Base in the Sinai Desert. They flew low, extremely low, below radar coverage, across Saudi airspace, without permission, without announcement, without warning to anyone. They flew in formation designed to mimic a commercial airline flight on radar screens. 45 minutes later, they were over Iraq. The target was the 𝐓𝐃𝐃𝐘 nuclear reactor, 20 kilometers south of Baghdad, a French-built research reactor that Iraq's President Saddam Hussein had been using to develop nuclear weapons capability. The international community had been discussing 𝐓𝐃𝐃𝐘 for years. The IAEA had inspectors there. Diplomatic negotiations were ongoing. America had urged Israel to be patient. France had promised modifications to make the reactor less dangerous. The Israeli cabinet, under Prime Minister Menachem Begin, had been watching all of that diplomatic activity and had made a different calculation. In 60 seconds of precision bombing, the 𝐓𝐃𝐃𝐃 reactor was destroyed completely. Iraqi air defense, caught completely by surprise, barely fired a response before it was over. 10 Iraqi soldiers and 1 French technician died. The reactor was gone. The international reaction was immediate and condemnatory. The United Nations Security Council unanimously condemned Israel. America publicly expressed strong criticism. Even Israel's closest allies distanced themselves from the strike. And Prime Minister Begin stood before the Israeli parliament and said something that became the foundation of Israeli strategic doctrine for the next 40 years. He said, Israel will not allow any enemy state to develop weapons of mass destruction against our people. He said, "We did it in 1981. We will do it again when necessary." That statement became official Israeli policy. It has a name, the Begin Doctrine. 26 years passed, September 6, 2007. In a remote area of northern Syria, in the Deir ez-Zor region, construction had been ongoing for 2 years on what Syrian officials described as an agricultural research facility. It was not an agricultural research facility. Israeli intelligence had been monitoring the site since 2006. Photographs, signal intercepts, human intelligence from inside Syria. The intelligence picture was building toward a conclusion that the Syrian government was constructing a nuclear reactor with North Korean technical assistance. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert presented the intelligence to President George W. Bush in the summer of 2007. Bush's response was cautious. America needed more certainty, more time, more diplomacy. The risks of a strike were significant. Israel had heard this before. On September 6th, at 12:53 a.m., Israeli Air Force jets crossed into Syrian airspace. They used electronic warfare systems to blind Syrian radar so completely that Syrian air defense had no awareness of the aircraft until after the bombs had already fallen. The Al-Kibar facility was destroyed in minutes. Syria initially denied anything had happened, then denied having a nuclear program. It took years for the full picture to emerge publicly. The IAEA eventually concluded in 2011 that the destroyed site was very likely a nuclear reactor. America had not been informed in advance. America had counseled against the strike. Israel struck anyway. Zero warning. Complete success. Now, I want you to hold both of those events in your mind simultaneously. 1981, Iraq. 2007, Syria. And ask yourself a simple question. Given the Begin Doctrine, given the pattern of behavior, even that Iran is now documented to be enriching uranium to 84%, documented by the IAEA, weeks away from weapons grade, what does Israel's strategic calculation look like today? Let me tell you what Israel has already done inside Iran, because most people do not have the complete picture, and the complete picture changes everything about how you understand what comes next. The Stuxnet cyber attack, confirmed in 2012, jointly developed by Israel and the United States. A computer worm, specifically designed to destroy Iranian centrifuges at the Natanz enrichment facility, by causing them to spin at incorrect speeds while reporting normal operation to monitoring systems. Approximately 1,000 centrifuges were destroyed. Iran's enrichment program was set back by an estimated 2 years. This was not a theoretical capability demonstration. This was a real operation. Inside Iranian nuclear infrastructure, undetected for years. The assassination of Iranian nuclear scientists. Between 2010 and 2012, 4 senior Iranian nuclear scientists were killed in targeted operations inside Iran. Car bombs, motorcycle attacks, each one precise, each one impossible without intelligence penetration of Iran's most protected community. Mossab Hassan Roshan, Dariush Razayanajad, Majid Shahriari, Masoud Ali Mohammadi. Iran blamed Israel and America. Israel never confirmed. The Natanz explosion of 2020. A massive explosion in an advanced centrifuge assembly hall at the Natanz facility. Iran called it sabotage. Multiple intelligence sources attributed it to Israel. The explosion set back Iran's advanced centrifuge program by months. The assassination of IRGC General Qasem Soleimani in January 2020. While America conducted the strike, documented intelligence reports describe Israeli intelligence contribution to the targeting and timing. Soleimani was the architect of Iran's entire proxy network. And then April 2024, after Iran fired 331 projectiles at Israeli territory, Israel's retaliatory strike did not hit a random target. Israel specifically struck an air defense radar installation near Isfahan, which is also near Natanz. Israel was not just retaliating. Israel was demonstrating that its aircraft could penetrate Iranian air defenses, demonstrating that it could reach the nuclear sites, demonstrating that the next time it came, it could come for something that mattered. Now let me tell you about the one problem, the one genuine military constraint that separates Israel's situation today from 1981 and 2007. In 1981, the Osirak reactor was above ground, visible from the air, destroyable with conventional bombs. In 2007, Al-Kabar was above ground, under construction, destroyable with conventional munitions. Iran learned from both of those strikes. Iran learned the lesson so completely that the most critical Iranian nuclear facility, the Fordow fuel enrichment plant, was built inside a mountain. Not near a mountain, inside a mountain, deep in the granite rock of the Kolange mountain in Qom province. 80 meters of rock above the main enrichment halls. That is not a number I want you to hear abstractly. 80 meters of solid granite mountain above a nuclear facility specifically designed to survive the largest conventional bombs in any Air Force's arsenal. Israel possesses the GBU-28 bunker buster bomb. It can penetrate approximately 30 meters of earth or 6 meters of reinforced concrete. 30 meters against 80 meters of granite. The GBU-28 is not sufficient for Fordow. America possesses the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator. This weapon, the largest conventional bomb in the world, weighs 13,000 pounds and can penetrate approximately 60 meters of earth. 60 meters against 80 meters. Even the largest conventional bomb America possesses is likely insufficient to destroy Fordow in a single strike. Multiple consecutive strikes on the same point might be sufficient, but that requires sustained access to Iranian airspace at a scale and duration that creates a completely different military operation from anything Israel has conducted before. This is the genuine strategic constraint. Israel can destroy Natanz. Israel can destroy Isfahan. Israel can destroy multiple Iranian nuclear facilities above ground or at shallow depth. But Fordow, specifically Fordow, requires either American participation with the GBU-57 or a level of sustained military operation that brings consequences of a scale Israel has not yet faced. And this constraint shapes every conversation happening right now between Jerusalem and Washington. Now let me tell you about Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is the answer that Iran gives to the question of what happens after an Israeli strike. Hezbollah is not a militia in the conventional sense. Hezbollah is a state within a state in Lebanon. It has social services, it has schools, it has hospitals, it has a political party with seats in parliament, and it has an estimated 150,000 rockets and missiles. 150,000, pointed at Israeli territory from a distance of less than 200 kilometers. Some of those rockets are simple, short-range, inaccurate, destroyable by Iron Dome. But a significant portion are precision-guided, long-range, capable of reaching Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, Ben Gurion Airport, capable of reaching Israel's offshore gas platforms in the Mediterranean, capable of striking Israel's Dimona nuclear facility. Israel's layered missile defense, Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow 2, Arrow 3, is the most sophisticated in the world. But 150,000 is a number that creates a saturation problem. Even the most sophisticated defense system in the world, defending against sustained salvos from 150,000 projectiles launched over hours and days, cannot maintain a 99% intercept rate indefinitely. The mathematics of saturation attacks are the mathematics of exhaustion. You fire enough missiles and you exhaust the interceptors. You exhaust the interceptors and things land. This is Iran's deterrent against Israeli military action, not Iranian conventional military strength, which is significant but outmatched by Israel's technological advantage. Hezbollah. And here is the specific calculation that Israel's military planners are working through right now. Can Israel degrade Hezbollah's precision missile arsenal sufficiently before striking Iran to reduce the retaliatory threat to an acceptable level? That question is not theoretical. That question has operational planning answers that Israel's military has been working on for years. The war in Lebanon in 2024 was not only about October 7th retaliation and border security. It was also about reducing Hezbollah's capacity before the larger strategic move. When you see Israeli military action through that lens, the sequence starts to make a different kind of sense. Let me now give you the complete picture as I see it. I want to be honest. I want to separate what the evidence supports from what is speculation. What the evidence supports is this. Israel has an official doctrine, the Begin Doctrine, that commits it to preventing hostile neighbors from acquiring nuclear weapons. Israel has demonstrated twice, in 1981 and 2007, that it will act unilaterally on that doctrine, regardless of international objection and regardless of American guidance. Iran is documented to be at 84% uranium enrichment. Israel has already penetrated Iranian territory multiple times through cyber operations, assassinations, and the April 2024 airstrike. The April 2024 strike specifically targeted Iranian air defense infrastructure near nuclear facilities, demonstrating the capability to reach those facilities. Israel has been systematically reducing Hezbollah's precision missile capability in Lebanon. Netanyahu has stated publicly and repeatedly that Iran's nuclear program is Israel's red line. All of these facts are documented. All of them are verified. Now let me tell you what I believe the strategic logic produces. Israel is not going to allow Iran to cross the nuclear threshold. Not because I believe it, but because the Begin Doctrine is official policy and because the historical pattern is unambiguous. The question is timing and method. If America under Trump agrees to participate, using the GBU-57 against Fordow, providing intelligence support, providing refueling access, providing post-strike diplomatic cover, the operation is more comprehensive and more likely to achieve its full objective. If America does not participate or does not provide the specific capabilities needed for Fordow, Israel strikes what it can reach, which is most of the Iranian nuclear program excluding Fordow's deepest sections, accepts that it cannot achieve complete destruction, and bets on the combination of the strike damage plus continued intelligence operations plus the setback to Iran's timeline to create enough space. Either way, the direction is clear. The only real variable is whether it happens with American participation or without it. And that variable determines not whether Iran's nuclear program is struck, but how completely. Now here is what most people completely miss about the consequences. Everyone focuses on the military exchange, the missiles, the airstrikes, the defense systems. That is the surface of the story. The deeper story is what happens to the global economy in the 48 hours, the 72 hours, the 2 weeks after an Israeli strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. Oil markets price risk instantly. They do not wait for outcomes. They price the fear of outcomes. The Strait of Hormuz question becomes immediate. 20% of global oil supply through that narrow waterway with Iranian anti-ship missiles and mines positioned along its northern shore. Even if the strait remains technically open, insurance rates for vessels transiting it go to levels that make commercial shipping economics non-viable. Even if only a portion of commercial shipping reroutes, the effect on global supply chains is severe and immediate. Gas prices in America, heating oil in Europe, energy costs for every factory and every logistics company in every country that imports oil. And those energy costs translate within weeks into price increases across every category of consumer goods. This is not a Middle East story. This is a global economy story. And it is a story that affects your grocery bill, your gas tank, your mortgage rate, your savings account, your retirement fund, whether you live in New York or Lagos or Seoul or Sao Paulo. I have been studying these moments for 30 years. The moments when a geopolitical decision in one region creates economic consequences that reach every household in the world. And I want to tell you something I have observed consistently. The people who navigate these moments well are never the people who had the most money going in. They are the people who had the best understanding, who saw the direction before it became undeniable, who understood the chain of causes and effects before the effects reached their doorstep. Financial intelligence is not a luxury. It is not something that only wealthy people need. It is the most practical skill that any ordinary person can build in a world where decisions made in Jerusalem and Tehran and Washington and Beijing determine the price of everything you buy tomorrow. The TPP system was built to give ordinary people the same quality of strategic financial thinking that people with expensive advisors get. Not because I believe in making things equal for philosophical reasons, because I have watched ordinary people lose everything in crises that they could have navigated successfully if they had understood what was happening one step earlier. 60 days, full guarantee, zero risk. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Now let me close with my final assessment. Here is what I know from 30 years of watching Israel make decisions. Israel does not telegraph its most important moves. Israel does not announce. Israel does not debate publicly. Israel does not seek international consensus before acting. Israel calculates quietly. Israel prepares precisely. And then Israel acts. Iraq said the reactor was for peaceful purposes. The international community was managing the situation diplomatically. Israel struck. Syria said the construction site was agricultural. America needed more time. Israel struck. The pattern is not complicated. The pattern is not ambiguous. The pattern is one of the most consistent patterns in the history of modern military decision-making. And now Iran stands at 84% enrichment, weeks from weapons grade, with an Israeli government that has stated publicly, repeatedly, unambiguously, that this is the red line that cannot be crossed. The world is watching the wrong thing again. The world is watching the diplomatic statements. The world is watching the American political drama. The world is watching the United Nations debates. Israel is not watching any of that. Israel is watching a number. The number is moving toward 90. And when enough of Israel's military and political leadership concludes that the number is close enough, the world will not see the preparation. The world will not see the decision. The world will not see the aircraft taking off. The world will only see the result, as it did in 1981, as it did in 2007. I am Professor Jiang. I do not tell you these things to frighten you. Fear is the enemy of clear thinking. I tell you these things because understanding what is actually happening, understanding the real doctrine, understanding the real pattern, understanding the real strategic logic, is the only way to make intelligent decisions in a world that doesn't slow down and doesn't wait for you to be ready. Subscribe. Come back for the next video. Because the next development in this story will happen faster than most people expect. And when it does, the people who watch this video, who understood this analysis, who prepared intelligently, will be in a fundamentally different position from everyone who was watching something else. This is Professor Jiang. Authentic, calculated, guaranteed. Stay sharp. The world is not waiting.